Holy. Good morning and welcome to this breakout session. You are more than welcome to move close. We won't throw anything on you or pick on you if you're closer. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Stefanie Zinke. I'm the International Sales Manager here at the LeeVCB. And I will be acting as a moderator for today's panel session. So thank you for joining our session today about the international traveler. And the goal of today's session is really just to give you an insight of what's happening in the international market, especially our two top markets, which are Canada and Germany. And we thought the best way to do that is by having our representatives from these markets here with us today. And also, because of the importance for the international market is to work with the wholesalers and how to work with them successfully, we've also invited some very special guests and friends of ours from Hotelbeds, all the way from Orlando. So let's just go ahead and introduce the members of today's panel. We have on the, see I do that, that's why I wanted the other phone, but that's okay. On the far left we have Kuminel from GCE. She's a PR consultant from Germany. Next to her we have Stefanie Mehlhorn. She's our sales and marketing rep for Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. In the very middle, we have Jeanette Faria, representing the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel in Canada. And then we have Gillian Crumpton from Hotelbeds, market manager for our area. And last but not least, Margin Rogers, the regional market manager for Florida from Hotelbeds. So I know we heard a lot about how fantastically well the region did for 2013. So I'm not going to really speak too much about the numbers because we've already seen some that Tamara Pygott shared with us before. So pretty much I just wanted to say I don't think anybody had a bad year 2013 for international visitors. And does anybody want to speak up? Because if so, do speak now or hold your peace forever. Because I don't think anybody had a very bad year. So instead of just going over the numbers, I mean, these numbers up here speak for themselves. Over 500,000 international visitors. And that's why we're here, and we're pointing it out, 70% of the whole 500,000 visitors were from the two top markets, Canada and Germany. So moving on, I think it would be best to ask Jeanette to speak about Canada and how the market did and what's new. Jeanette?
Do you want me to turn the slides at the same time?
Oh, see, that's how we work.
Sure. Okay, thank you, everyone. As you all know, Canadians love Florida. We wanted to make it another province, actually. So we had a record 3.7 million Canadians come to Florida in 2013. That was actually a 5% increase over the previous year. And we spent $4.4 billion in 2013. We're actually the #1 international market for into the U.S. for nights and spending. So, which is a great story. And for the first quarter of 2014, we are already at 1.5 million Canadians down to Florida, which is fantastic. Our direct air arrivals are up 4.6% as well into Florida, which is great. Now, there's obviously it was a huge growth for us, and it was a lot because of the exchange rate and the Canadian dollar. We see a little bit of a slower growth over the next forecast over the next couple of years, about 2.6%. A lot of that has to do with the exchange rate. It is forecasted to stay at about 92 cents, 90, 91, 92 cents. So because of the exchange rate, the growth might be a little bit slower, but still, Canada will, the U.S. as well as Florida will still stay top international market, and probably top travel destination is Florida. One of the other big factors to the forecasted slower growth actually is because a lot of U.S. carriers are, and some Canadian carriers, because of our high taxes in Canada, are actually increasing the flights from across the border. So a lot of Canadians go across the border to Buffalo and take a flight down, or across in Quebec as well. So we get a lot of people that choose to drive an hour and take a flight out of the States because the flights have been, the access is really good. And so that unfortunately has, forecast the growth to be a little slower, but Canadians are still definitely coming. Now, one of the big things, which I know Tam and touched on a little bit, is the aging market. So the aging population in Canada, this is actually quite interesting. For the first time in Canadian history, by 2017, there will be more Canadians 65 plus than there will be children under 14 for the first time in Canadian history. So this is a huge market, huge. The number of Canadians between 65 and 74 will be at 4.3 million by 2023. So this is a huge market, obviously, which is a great market for this destination, and for the multi-generational travel and the baby boomers. And obviously the 65 plus have, the propensity to travel, and a lot of them will not go in what we've seen as the international travel from Canada, like not the US, but overseas, will decline because of obviously the with health issues over 65 and the fixed incomes and the cost of health insurance. It makes more sense for them to stay a little closer within North America, which is why we still will see a growth in our travel down to the US and down to Florida. And the baby boomer market within Canada, these are our provinces. This just kind of shows you how Ontario and Quebec are our strongest markets to this destination, and the market mainly within Ontario and Quebec, it's the baby boomers with kids. But even though obviously with the aging population, as I said, will still be it's a great story for Florida and for the U.S. and for the beaches of Fort Myers and Sanibel. And some of our key partners, WestJet and Air Canada both do nonstop direct flights from Toronto. We also have a flight direct from Ottawa. We also have flights from Montreal. So we've got great air service. It's a 3-hour flight. It's easy. And then our tour operators. We have great tour operator partners. WestJet has just increased their service, but WestJet Vacations also just added new product for this winter, 2 new hotels. So that's a great story. They're seeing an increase in their in the destination, in the interest of the destination. Expedia is our #1 online booking agent in Canada, and one of the biggest ones. I think what maybe a lot of partners have seen down here is within the Canadian market, there haven't been as many tour operators anymore. I know if you've worked the Canadian market, there used to be there's been a lot of amalgamation. So one of the biggest amalgamations is Travel Brands, which used to be Thomas Cook Canada. So Travel Brands was now bought out Thomas Cook Canada was bought out, and now Travel Brands is a large operator. They actually have 6 OTAs, online travel agencies, within the brand, and they have 13 tour operators within the brand. So Travel Brands is probably one of our largest. And then we've got some others that we work with. But one of the things that I've seen from their sales and from what they've told me, it's not all beach properties that they're selling. They're selling a lot of inland properties, which is great. So it's definitely a variety of everything. And, a lot of them are using a receptive operator. And within Canada, I've found more and more are using receptive operators to do to book or to bring their product online. And a lot of that is because the operators can then feature, tons of hotels in their system, and they give them obviously the images and the content and the information, and they can load it right into their system. So they don't have to go out and do the individual contracts. So within Canada, a lot of the tour operators are using the receptive operators now. And, in regards to our traveler, definitely multi-generational, as I said. One of the interesting stats that I found is that while on vacation, the most purchased thing within the U.S. was adventure and guided tour. 54% of people purchased that while in destination. So that was interesting. And then arts and culture was 37%, and then water activities, spa, fitness, and golfing in there as well. So we've got our multi-generational travel. We get a lot of snowbirds and seniors that travel with the kids. Definitely interested in the adventure. Obviously, we get a lot of snowbirds, the long stay, shopping. I mean, Canadians just love to shop. Seriously, the prices down here are phenomenal. You might not realize it, but for us, it's amazing. I've already done my shopping. I contributed very nicely on Monday to the economy. And then we have obviously the group business and then golf vacations. Canadians love to golf, and Canadians will travel to golf. It's not that just that they're golfing while they're down here. They'll actually book a golf vacation and come down to golf. So, we work with everybody. We work with partnerships with the operators, the retailers, the online travel agents, the airlines. We try to, co-op partner with everybody and bring everybody together. I think that's a little bit of an overview on me.
Okay, thank you, Jeanette, for that. We're going to go on and talk about the cultural awareness when we deal with international travelers, because it's not the same if you try to talk or host a visitor coming from Germany or Canada than maybe a visitor coming from Sweden or Brazil. Due to the cultural preferences and habits, we as the hotel, as a destination, we might have to address them differently. Some of the aspects, obviously, that sometimes are a concern is, of course, the language, needs or greetings, the habits that they have, and the importances for them when they look for a hotel. So the question for me today would be, how can we actually treat them? Can we treat them the same? And what can we do as a hotel, for example, an attraction to stand out? And to differentiate ourselves from our competitors by offering something extra for these cultural markets. So having said that, maybe Stefanie, if you want to point out some of the key aspects for our beloved German travelers.
Well, Stefanie, can everybody hear me? Okay. One important factor for Germans is breakfast. It sounds funny, but we love eating, and the breakfast is the most important meal for the Germans. And they already know it from Germany, from Europe, that breakfast is already included in the hotel rate. So when we have Germans that are traveling to the United States for the first time, they are sometimes negatively surprised when it's not included. So breakfast would be an important factor for hotels to get a standout factor from other participants if they would include.
So would you say it would be, for example, if they were in between two different hotels, and even though the rate might be slightly higher, but it does include breakfast, do you think that would be a decisive factor for them to go with the hotel that offers breakfast? Yeah,
because Germans, they want to know, or they want to calculate in advance what they have to invest in the vacation. So it's the best thing to see, okay, I have booked a hotel, I've got that rate, and the breakfast is already included. I don't have to worry where I will get my breakfast next morning, and yeah, that's comfortable for the Germans.
And speaking about language, most of the Germans, they do know enough English to get through, but how important would it be if one of our establishments or a service provider is able to offer German-speaking assistance or check-in, etc.?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say it depends on the generation. So most of the travelers from Germany, they speak at least little English. But they would appreciate if they get, let's say, if they find a person at the reception who can speak at least a little German. So that would also, they really would appreciate that. But it's not necessary.
Yeah, especially the younger generation.
Yeah, they
already
all can speak English.
Yeah, all can speak English,
Yeah.
but it's nice, and the Germans highly appreciate when someone can address them in German.
They would. It's not a must, but
yeah, it's nice.
It would be nice to have.
Is there anything else that you would like to point out that is of importance when they arrive at a destination or a hotel?
We Germans love to be a little bit of pampered. So when they arrive at the hotel, and for example, some little things like information material, so maps of the area, or these small coupon booklets you already have in the restaurants and everywhere, or restaurant suggestions from the reservation staff. That are small little things that Germans really like, and on the one hand, it's easy for the staff to give them the information, and on the other hand, it's of low cost for the hotel partner. So that's a really nice thing that which stands for an excellent customer service.
Okay.
And I also I forgot to mention it before. When it comes to bookings and reservations, the Germans rely strongly on the package deals and the travel agents. I will come back to that topic later. But the travel agents are very comfortable for the Germans. We go to an agent and he books everything. He arranges the entire vacation trip, and that's very comfortable. And I already mentioned we want to know what we have to spend when we go on vacation, and that's why all-inclusive is a preferred travel style of the Germans. Though it doesn't exist in the United States, but hotel partners could also do partnerships with attractions or restaurants and offer them special deals. So that's would be also a nice, standout factor for the hotels.
Yeah, especially if they come to the United States for the first
Yeah.
time. So if they are repeaters, and I think that would not
Already
be...
know
Yes,
the
they
area.
already know, but especially for the first time, they would appreciate that, I think.
Okay, thank you. And now, since we spoke about the German market, actually when we say the German market, I'm probably not being PC. I should say the German-speaking market, which for us incorporates Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. So again, our experts are sitting at the far left, so I hand over to Stefanie, let you do.
Yeah, I've brought some nice figures. We received the latest figures from Visit Florida, and we had in 2013 more than 423,000 visitors coming to Florida, which is a plus of 13%. And Stefanie already mentioned that the German-speaking market is very important for this area because also of the direct flight connection from Düsseldorf to Fort Myers. And as you can see, we have more than 250,000 visitors came to the area in 2013, which is 250,000. It's very impressive, but it's also a market with potential to growth. And one more important factor is the more than 90% of research and booking of the research and booking process involve travel agents. So the travel agents and the tour operators are our biggest and strongest sales force in the German-speaking markets. And as you can see a little bit the sentence below, we have more than 28,000 room nights has been produced by our top 5 tour operators. So we have a lot more. We have smaller ones. We have tour operators that are specialized in North America, in Florida, etc. So there is a lot of potential from the German-speaking market. Yes, and that's also a very nice slide just to give you an idea how Germans plan their vacations and book their vacations. So on the graphic you can see in average, Germans start planning their vacation 6 months prior to departure, and will book it mostly through a travel agent 3 months prior to departure. But for you, the timeline below is more interesting. There you can see that from March till August, there's the contracting time for the tour operators, because they will produce in September and October their catalogs, their summer catalogs for the next year, for the next summer, and we'll present it in November. So you can see that from November to February, that's the tour operator main promotion season, and also ours. So we are promoting the area the entire year, but this quarter year is the most important time for us also to attract the people to come to the area. Yeah, and that's just to give you an overview, an idea, the red graphs, that are the German travel agencies, the number of travel agencies we have in Germany. And you can see it's a little bit decreasing. So we have 9,700 travel agencies in Germany, but impressing is the fact that the gray graphs, that's the revenue in billion euros. So we have the highest revenue ever in 2013 with 9,700 travel agencies in Germany. So that means we had in total 9.7 million vacation trips in 2013, and that means when you take one agency, it's more than 960 vacation trips booked through a travel agent. So I just want to mention again, that's our biggest and strongest sales force in the German-speaking markets. Yeah, and that slide shows it perfectly. So you have when a German gets to a travel agent or plans the vacation trip, you have to depart it in 2 steps. Once the information and research process, and then the booking process. Both can the German can do both with the travel agent, so that's the biggest percentage. So 35% of Germans go to a travel agent, get the information, and also book there in the travel agency. But you can also see that some do researches online, then go to the travel agent and book their vacation. And also the online travel agencies, as Jeanette also already mentioned, are becoming stronger in the German-speaking markets. Yeah, and some little trends and outlooks for 2015. One important fact is that the the spendings will increase about 1.5% in real this year. So Germans are willing to spend money, and also even more money if they get the quality of the vacation they have expected. So we love traveling, and we are willing to spend the money.
Yeah, and since the economy is very strong
it's very
in Germany, so they are able to spend money for travels.
Yes, and the blue sentence about the tour operators is also very important. I have mentioned the online travel agencies, the OTAs. Tour operators have to go and step into the multi-channel sales. They have to present their offers also online, not only offline, and so they are increasing their marketing efforts also in the online section.
Okay, thank you very much, Stefanie. Now, we obviously heard that how they book and what the booking pattern is, and the strong reliability on tour operators and travel agents. But here in our area, we have a very high repeat visitor rate for both markets, Germany and Canada. So how do you think the booking pattern changes, and is there a change?
Me first?
Yep, you can go.
Yeah, there's a difference when we have Germans that are traveling the first time to the United States, then they go very often to the travel agencies because it's more comfortable, it's safe. That's the people that are coming for the first time to the area, but also the repeating visitors. There's a trend that they book more and more online because they have already been to the area. They know some hotels. They have explored and experienced the distances and the entire area, and that's a trend. It's a big trend that experienced travelers that already have been to the area are going to book more and more online.
I think Canadians, though, is this still on? I think Canadians will book right from the start, especially because it's within North America. We feel comfortable, so we'll book with an online travel agency. Don't necessarily feel they have to use a travel agent. Travel agents are strong within our market, but I'm not sure they're as strong for the U.S. product, because I feel like Canadians feel comfortable with the U.S. product.
And
So
how
they
do the
book.
Canadians respond, though, to the online travel agents? Is it increasing?
They're definitely being used more and more. There are more and more online travel agents. Just last week, if anybody knows the name Jonathan Carroll, he is one of the former founders of iTravel 2000 in Canada. He actually started a brand new online travel agency. Well, he launched a brand new OTA called Travel Nation Canada within the last month. So we now have another online travel agency that he has just begun. And obviously iTravel 2000 was huge within Canada. And, as I said, there are more and more Canadians are using them. Travel Brands has 6 of them under their belt. So yeah, definitely important. And I think a lot of Canadians will stay in hotels. As Stefanie said, for the first time if they're not familiar with the area. And then unfortunately, us Canadians have been buying a lot of houses after, maybe for future, but definitely staying in the hotels for the first visit, for sure.
Did you want to specify anything on this slide, Stefanie?
Yes, that's my little creation. Just to give you an idea how the online market in Germany is working. So we have 2 different kinds or 2 different ways of online bookings. On your left-hand side, the OBAs or the online booking engines. So we have HRS or Booking.com which are very strong in the German-speaking markets, and these are platforms that only offer hotel beds. So if you are looking for the hotel, you already have booked the rental car and everything else, and looking for hotels, then Germans go to that kind of platforms. And the OTAs, the online travel agencies, like Expedia or Tropo, and we have a lot more in the German-speaking markets, and they offer packages with the overnight, with the rental car and the flights, everything is included, and that's the big competitor to the offline, to the travel agencies and the tour operators. That's why they have to become stronger, the tour operators.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and that's my last slide to give you an idea how strong the separate bookings are. So the red graph is Germany. We have other European markets in that graph, and more than 50% of German travelers booked their entire vacation separately. So they've booked the rental car, then they have booked the hotel a week later, for example. But also very important, the all-inclusive topics. So more than 30% are the package deals, still the package deals, and from these package deals, nearly 30% are all-inclusive.
Okay, thank you. So we spoke about the tour operators and the travel agents, and of course their importance in order to reach the international market, and also in the increase in OTAs. But I think we're missing out an important key factor here, which is our dear receptive tour operators, and how, especially as a VCB, we strongly believe that this is kind of like your link between you and the world. So saying that, I would like to introduce Hotelbeds officially. So maybe Martin, if you want to go ahead and introduce Hotelbeds.
Okay. All right, I'll just move this a little closer. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Just before we start, just out of interest, how many of you in the room already work with Hotelbeds? A few of you. And I know we've got a mix in here. Are the rest of you in the room, do you work in the hotel side of things, or is it just that you don't work with us? So we've got some maybe excursion supplies and things that wouldn't necessarily.
Attractions over there.
We've got a combination. Okay. All right. Well, just for those of you that are not familiar with who we are and what we do, Hotelbeds is, first of all, it's part of TUI Travel, which is the world's largest leisure travel company globally. The biggest one in the world. They own airlines, they own hotels, they've got high street travel agencies in some of the markets like the UK, for example. And we form part of the kind of the online sector of that. Hotelbeds is not an OTA, just to make that clear, because there's sometimes a little confusion about that. We're strictly B2B. So everything that we sell is to our tour operator partners and to travel agents. So we focus on technology, global operation capabilities, but also staying very much in tune with the local market and having that knowledge of the local market wherever we work around the world. The company has 6,000 employees in 132 offices across 47 countries, so we truly are a global company. And for the past 10 years, we've seen real double-digit growth. And we're working with, the numbers change depending on who you talk to and daily, because we're continually growing. But at the last count, it was over 5,000 tour operators globally, and also 25,000 travel agencies, which is through one of our in-house companies, Beds Online, which is the travel agency brand, also under the TUI umbrella. So through all that, we touch 11 million consumers globally, and we've also got very ambitious growth plans for 2015 and beyond. The slide that's up, slide that was just up there just shows where we've got our sales teams based. So we've got sales teams based around the world, 24 people in our sales team based in North America. You can see we've got 53 in Latin America, of which 22 are in Brazil. Across Europe, we've got a staff of 93 on the sales team, and then Asia Pacific and the Middle East, 93. So you see we've got very strong presence in all of the key markets that we work in around the world in terms of our sales teams. And I think I covered some of this already there. Well, you see that we've got 35,000 tour operator and travel agents here, so it's gone up already since the last slide. 26,000 daily bookings, 100 and more source markets around the world, and 19 million room nights per year globally. So some of the key facts there.
So now that we know what Hotelbeds does and what your focus is, what would be your suggestion for a hotel? Why should they rather work with a receptive versus a online travel agency?
Okay, first of all, I would say that the real benefit of working with us is our penetration in the overseas international markets because of our distribution. And typically, what happens is the business that comes from the international markets, you're going to see a longer length of stay, which is always very important to a lot of our hotel partners. They're always asking how they can get guests staying at their properties for longer. So we also tend to find that we get bookings coming through earlier from some of the international markets. Now, don't get me wrong, we get a lot of last-minute business as well, but I think compared to the OTAs, we get more early bookings, which gives the hotel a good base business when they're looking at their long-term strategies, so they can get that layer of business in, which can then help them with the last-minute promotions and deciding what they might need to do to fill their empty beds as they get nearer to arrival time. We just by working with us, as soon as you go live on our website, you've got instant visibility across all the markets that we work in globally. And then, like I mentioned, we've got the sales teams that are doing all the marketing on your behalf, in addition to your own efforts and in addition to the efforts of sales missions from the VCB that go on throughout the year as well. That's some of the key points there.
So how could they become a top seller? Like if they either already work with you or if they are new to you and they start working with you, what are the key things for them to do and to look out for to become a top seller amongst Hotelbeds?
Okay. Well, of course, it's very competitive out there, not just between yourselves as hoteliers, but also on our side, we're very competitive against some of our competitors, some of the other wholesalers and bed banks, receptive operators, whatever you want to call them. So we're always looking at ways of differentiating ourselves, and it's the properties that are able to successfully differentiate themselves in the destinations that we can, in terms of what you can offer to us in terms of differentiation. And they're the ones that we can really go out and market with a much stronger message and make those properties almost, Hotelbeds recommended product, provided that they're best in class within the destination, of course. So we can do things like preferred partnership agreements, where we might commit to a certain level of revenue or room night production over maybe a contract period over 12 months or longer. And in return for that minimum production, then we would ask for certain advantages that are exclusive to Hotelbeds in terms of a discount off the net rate in that contract or certain exclusive added values that wouldn't be offered to any of our competitors. That differentiation, it's key, and they're the properties where we really see the volume of business driving to those properties as opposed to certain other ones in the destination. We also do what we call key hotels, whereby maybe we wouldn't have any kind of financial commitment to you or commitment in terms of how many room nights we would produce, but maybe for a smaller advantage that you could give us, maybe like just an exclusive added value, or maybe a smaller percentage of the rate that our competitors don't have, like 3%, for example. Then we can still put all the marketing efforts behind that and increase the volume of business that we send your way. And it's the same kind of thing. It's just it's kind of the next tier down from the preferred agreements. marketing overrides where we get, I suppose, money back on the back end of the contract if we hit certain thresholds of production, work well as well. And I think is there anything else? They're the main ones, really, aren't they?
Yeah, top positioning priorities.
Yeah, and with all of these, we can give you top positioning, priority positioning on our website, as well as we've got a team. I talked about the sales teams that we've got in the source markets. Those teams focus on the clients that we have in those destinations, but they don't focus so much on the business into North America. They're just interested in those clients booking through Hotelbeds, irrespective of where in the world the clients are traveling to. But we've got a team based in our office in Orlando, which is our head office for all of North America, called Destination Specialists, the Product Specialist team, I think the new title is. And their focus, it's kind of a connection between the sales team and the product team. And what they do is they're focusing on all of our key global markets, but their focus is on inbound business into North America. So they're the ones that are constantly asking us which hotels do we need to be talking about when they're talking constantly to all of our clients in the key markets that come into North America.
Can I just ask you there a question that just spontaneously off script came into my mind?
Off script.
Off script. This is going to be a real challenge here, Martin. Now you mentioned the importance, of course, we're going to actually lead into this with Gabi later, but the content and pictures. Mm-hmm. So with Jeanette yesterday, we were having a little brainstorm question session, and we were wondering, how does it work? Like, who is in charge for the content and your profile of that particular hotel to be in charge? Who updates? Who makes sure it's up to date?
Yeah, it's a challenge. Not the
Sorry.
question. Not the question. I know the answer to the question, but it is a challenge to keep content up to date with so many properties in our system. We really try to put the onus on the hotel, and we give every hotel access through our extranet so that at any time when they have something change, they can go in there and they can make the changes. They can update photography, when even something as simple as you might have a soft furnishings update in the room, so you want the latest look of the property to show online. That then has to be approved by our head office in Spain, just for consistency, because especially the descriptions, because obviously everybody's going to write in their own style, so they want everything formatted in a way that's standardized globally around the world. But it is difficult, and more we're asking, if you see our content form now for a new property, it's pages and pages long, because we're finding that as time goes on, clients they're expecting more and more for us to have more information than ever at our fingertips when they're making their bookings on things that maybe in the past they would never have asked about. So that's why it is a pain, we know, when we send out those forms and we're asking you to complete them, but it's because that's what our clients want to know.
Okay, thank you. And leading into the next topic, just kind of like a hot topic, and we've heard it before, MMGY mentioned it too for the US market. The ongoing question of printed media and brochures, the big catalogs that especially German tour operators love so much, in a world that seems to go digital. So I would like to hand it over to Gabi. If you want to point out what's the importance of these printed media and the brochures for the German-speaking market.
Yes, especially for the German-speaking market, even if the world is going more and more digital, the printed versions of newspapers, dailies, weeklies, and magazine has still a high relevance to consumers. They rely on their print media, and the consumers are inspired by all media, travel stories in terms of booking or making their decisions for the next holidays. So all the printed media, they also have online versions, but the people are still subscribing, lots of them in Germany, and that helps them to make their decisions. So let me give you just a few numbers to show you. We have in Germany, which is a small country, as you know, we have a combined circulation of print media of nearly 20 million. And then we have over 340 daily newspapers with 1,500 local editions, which is really a lot. And also 26 weekly newspapers, Sunday newspapers, and nearly 1,000 general magazines like special interest magazines, travel magazines, with a circulation of nearly 5 million readers. So, as I mentioned before, we have a lot of subscribers, and I would like to tell you how we try to reach the consumers via media. So how to spread the word and reach the consumers in the end. So at first we are defining messages, as we heard before in that big presentation. It's all about storytelling and creating ideas for the people, and in this connection the content and especially pictures are really important. It's really important to give good pictures to the media, and also feed the internet pages, your internet pages with high quality pictures. And also the catalogs and the printed brochures are important in Germany. Even if they go online and have a look on your websites, they still like to have something in their hands. So we know that from our daily business. People call us up and ask for printed editions. We send them newsletters, we send them press kits and everything, but what they really appreciate is if they have something in their hand, they can pack into their suitcase and take them with them. Yeah. So I would like to tell you about how we try to create new future guests, and it's not only that we distribute press releases once a month at least, and we are setting up group press trips, individual press trips. That's where we need your support in hosting journalists. And we also go out for media calls in our major media cities in Germany, and doing some editorial visits and roadshows and media roadshows and so on. And yeah, maybe that brings us to our next. No, that was.
I'll just touch on the printed brochures, because obviously it is important in Germany, and it is still important in Canada as well. A lot of the tour operators do still produce a brochure. Canadians do still like to look, and it is important. Air Canada Vacations, for the first time in several years, is actually putting out a North American brochure this December, for the first time in several years. So it is still important. Just one of the biggest changes that's happened in Canada, there no longer can be pricing in the brochures. So they're all picture driven, description driven, which is very interesting, which is why, it's important for somebody like an Air Canada Vacations that uses the receptive of Hotelbeds and uses their product, for their product to, obviously have the up-to-date information and images and stuff, because that's what they're going to be putting into their brochure. But it is still definitely important to have both. Even though people are online, the operators have still told me, it is still important to have presence as both.
Okay. I was just told that I cannot stand up here and talk the whole day, so we might have to speed it up a little bit. So basically, if I was to ask Martin and Jill what would be your wish list that I can send out to hotels, and he could say, oh, if I work with the hotels, I would like this agreement and this allotment versus free sale, or this rate and this contract. So I don't know if you want to touch real quick base on that, but then I would also like you to jump ahead and go into how our area has performed with Hotelbeds.
Okay. The main things that we would require is rates. Obviously, rates is what sells your property, so that's what we would need, a good rate, hopefully better than our competitors as well. Free sale, so we have availability at all times to sell your hotel, different room types available too. A low cut-off, so we can capture some of that last-minute business. Promotions as well. We can be creative with promotions. We can have them source market specific. We can do length of stay discounts, free night promotions, breakfast, anything that you think that you would like to offer to the customers. We can also, we'd like to have rate mix, so we have different types of rate options available to keep up with the market trends. So we can do your traditional FIT wholesale rates. We can work dynamically as well with your bar rate, and also with Liberate, which is our direct payment module as well.
Okay, because I know we're short of time. So just to finish off on how the whole Fort Myers area, Lee County, is done in terms of hotel beds. We've just finished our fiscal year, fiscal 13-14, which ended in September, sorry. And the great news is that this year we finished the year at over 51% up on last year in terms of room nights. So we've gone from 8,000 room nights to 12,000 room nights through Hotelbeds. Around a third of that is US domestic production. And I know we've heard a lot about Germany and Canada. They're not our number one and number two in terms of Hotelbeds business into the destination. But we're seeing big growth from the UK, which is up 60%. And we're talking over 2,200 room nights in the fiscal year that's just ended. We're also seeing a 70% growth from Denmark. It's smaller numbers, but even so, it's still a nice percentage growth on the year before, which is up to almost 900 room nights. And then we're seeing also some of the other, just the out of the top producing markets, because you're getting business from all markets. There's probably 50 markets on here that you've had some production from. But also, did I mention Argentina? Yeah, Argentina, the Netherlands, Sweden and France and Norway are all up there as well in some of the markets that are upcoming through Hotelbeds into Lee County.
Okay, thank you. And just really quickly, I mean, obviously, as your local contact for the international market, if you have ever any doubts, use the VCB and contact us, and we're happy to help you source, establish contacts, or help you where to go. We've seen the performance from Hotelbeds, and I'm glad to hear, and I did not pay Marta to say that, but oh, what a coincidence. Markets that we're tapping into coming this year are South America and the Benelux, which is Belgium, Netherlands, and Luxembourg, and also France. So really, I mean, why are we tapping into, especially South America? And when we say South America, at this point, we're also only considering Brazil and Argentina, and as a secondary impact close to, due to location and similarity in culture. Another impact countries would be Colombia, Chile, and Uruguay. But just a quick thing here on the far left bottom. We received 2.6 million to Florida. So that's one of the reasons. We're going after them because they're already here. They're 2 hours away. They fly into Miami. So if we're just being a little bit optimistic and say, okay, let's just go for 1%, all of these people that come, and there's very strong repeat visitors too. If we go for the 1% at an average daily room rate, which was our last year's of $140, that could technically translate into 3.6 million US dollars in additional revenue in room nights. So I think we have a slight chance of doing so. And how are we going to do, and why another reason, a big reason, and I'm wrapping up, is because they are high spenders. We always think that the Germans and the Europeans in general spend a lot of money in our malls, but if you look at that chart at the top corner, 18% for Europe and 33% for South America. So they do spend a lot of money here. And the biggest advantage for us is reverse seasonalities. Their winter is our summer. Do we want them here in our summer? Yes, we do. And they want to get out of the cold. So it's a good market for us to target. And how we do that? Trade shows, sales mission, media coverage, anything. Any quick questions? And I do apologize if we did go a little bit over time.
seen on a slide before, there was a few results from a press trip. In this connection, I would like to say thank you to all of you when hosting journalists. We are just from this press trip. There was a slide before. There was one press trip, for example. We had five journalists, and with this clippings, we reached over 5 million potential guests, readers, potential guests, and achieved an ad equivalence of $120,000. That's just an example of a group that has been here, 5 journalists for 3 days, and that's a good way to spread the word and tell about the beauty of the region.
Okay. Any questions? And you should have my email address. If not, here it is. And if you want to find either Jill or Martin and bombard them with questions offline, or either one of us, we're here to help. Thank you for your attention.